Ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua is a very dangerous politician.
Na mimi hata kama sikuwa nataka huyu baba, on second thought, nikiona vile hii Kasongo ametusumbua, haki ya Mungu, afadhali hii Raila angechaguliwa.
And I can clearly tell that Rigathi Gachagua has set a trap for Oburu Odinga. And Oburu Odinga is walking straight into that trap without knowing.
William Ruto amenunua ODM, imeuzwa na Junet na Wanga. Tayari wamechukua deposit. Sasa siku Raila alikufa, the day Raila died, Junet used to be with Raila throughout. He never went to collect his body. Alifika airport akajifanya ni mgonjwa, akawachwa akiuza ODM. Hao mabroka wameuza ODM.
My advice to Oburu Odinga: please, Rigathi Gachagua is going to destroy you. Allow me to demonstrate. Rigathi Gachagua started some war of words with the president. The president then decided to respond to Rigathi Gachagua. That was the last time the president responded, because the kind of response and the kind of attacks he got from Rigathi Gachagua, he had to stop. The president then decided, okay, I'm the president, Rigathi was my deputy. Let me now unleash my deputy for them to fight at that level. What happened the other day? Actually, yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua informed the entire country that Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki had surrendered and was actually sending people to go to talk to him, to go slow on him. That is Rigathi Gachagua. There's something which is happening, and Oburu Odinga is clearly falling for it. Rigathi Gachagua started a narrative that William Ruto bought. Rigathi Gachagua started a narrative that Junet Mohammed and Gladys Wanga sold ODM to Ruto. The two, I think, avoided that. Then with the time, Rigathi Gachagua now started adding the name of Oburu Odinga. That Oburu, especially after Oburu had been now confirmed as the party leader, that Oburu, Junet, and Wanga sold the ODM party.
ODM Ruto alinunua kwa Oburu, Junet na Wanga, akalipa deposit. Sasa wanasikia Junet na Wanga wanalia. Hawali kwa sababu ODM imekwisha. Kasongo amekataa kutoa balance. Si ndio?
So today during the ODM youth convention, Oburu Odinga took his time to respond to Rigathi Gachagua. That's exactly what Rigathi Gachagua wanted. Because remember, in ODM party, the scarecrow has always been Rigathi Gachagua. As a matter of fact, most people who are not in Linda Wananchi are not in Linda Wananchi because they believe that that outfit is working for Rigathi. Now Oburu Odinga has put himself right where Rigathi Gachagua wanted him.
I don't want to talk about our opponents. Our opponents can say whatever they are saying, but sisi tunafanya nini? Tunaendelea. Sisi tunafanya nini? Tunaendelea. Hata wakitutukana, hata wakisema sisi ni nini, hata wakisema sisi ni nini, lakini kuna mmoja wao ambaye amesema ati Oburu amenunuliwa. Mimi nitapeleka yeye kotini aseme huko Oburu amenunuliwa na pesa ngapi. Mimi siwezi kununuliwa, na hii chama chetu ya ODM haiwezi kumezwa. Hii chama chetu ya ODM haiwezi kufanywa nini? Haiwezi kumezwa. Our party will grow from strength to strength.
In this video, I want to offer my unsolicited advice to Oburu Odinga, because the Rigathi Gachagua I know is going to be ruthless. This is a man who Raila Odinga died of all the people. He never went to Karen up to now. He never went to stadium where Kenyans were. He never went to Bondo. Even up to date, he has not bothered. But this is the same man who is telling Oburu, who is Raila's brother, that Oburu sold ODM party. So it's going to destroy Oburu Odinga. So my advice to Oburu Odinga are as follows. By the way, before I give you that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, my take are as follows. Number one, Rigathi Gachagua is a very good communicator. In the current political setup, I've been trying to figure out, because I've been studying Rigathi Gachagua. I took 2 weeks to study him. None of the current political players can actually match Rigathi Gachagua when it comes to communication. And Oburu Odinga should understand this. Rigathi Gachagua understands mob psychology. Tell me how Rigathi Gachagua was able to convince the Mountain that his impeachment was all about impeachment of the entire Mountain. Even William Ruto never expected that to happen. So Rigathi is a very good communicator, and Oburu cannot match it when it comes now to going head on. And that's exactly the direction he wants. Why do you think Raila Odinga lost in the last election? Raila Odinga lost because a mistake happened. Azimio accepted to pair Martha Karua and Rigathi Gachagua in an interview. Rigathi Gachagua used that interview because most people had expected that Martha Karua was going to destroy Rigathi Gachagua during that interview. By the time that interview was ending, the Mountain were already convinced that their man is Rigathi Gachagua. And Martha Karua was left just like that. So Oburu must know that in the Republic of Kenya today, nobody can match Rigathi Gachagua when it comes to communication. He understands it. So the best thing, avoid confrontation with him. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua is also very keen on making ODM leaders, especially the Oburu Odinga's camp, very angry. So he wants to provoke them. When you are provoked, what happens? You start responding the way Junet Mohammed responded to him.
Sasa mtu kama Rigathi anatupigia kelele kila siku, anasomea ODM kila siku, anataja jina ya Dr. Oburu, Wanga, sijui Junet. Yule mtu chama yake hata haitoshi branch ya Migori county peke yake ndio inashinda chama ya DCP hapa Kenya.
You start organizing rallies to talk about Rigathi Gachagua. How do you think Rigathi Gachagua has been able to maintain the headlines since he was impeached? Because of this kind of provocations. Rigathi appears to be someone who is not, if you look at him, but he's a very sharp man. So he wants to make Oburu angry. He knows that if I say this, these guys are going to go to Nyanza and they are going to talk about me. Then I'm going to respond to them somewhere else. And importantly, I don't know why Oburu is not using this. The best medicine is to ignore Rigathi Gachagua. That's the only medicine. I'm saying this because Oburu needs to learn a lesson from Raila Odinga. Let me use the case of Miguna, because the story of Miguna is a story I know so well. One of the guys who was selling Miguna books is a friend of mine, Magoga. Miguna worked with Raila Odinga. When Raila Odinga was the prime minister, he was the advisor on legal matters. Because of the nature of Miguna, he was fired. Then we know Miguna. He started attacking Raila Odinga, publishing stories here and there. At some point, he even opened a website where he would publish those articles against Raila. Raila never responded to Miguna. Miguna never got tired. Miguna went further, published a book. Raila never responded to Miguna. It didn't end there. Miguna then came to the country. It was sponsored, and the person who sponsored Miguna books was none other than William Ruto at that time. Then Miguna came back into the country, peeling the mask, another book on Raila. Raila never responded. He even came back and found opportunity. I think this time I was right at the Okwa, Kenya, during the People's Assembly. He came after the election, because during the 2017 election, the truth is, Miguna never campaigned for Raila. He supported Uhuru and Ruto. I don't know what happened after the election. Then he found himself, almost when ODM were planning those protests, he took over. Then, I don't know what happened. Miguna then started attacking Raila until the time he was even expelled from the country. But Raila never responded to Miguna up to now. In fact, Raila died without responding to Miguna that much. Miguna got tired. If our Oburu Odinga had applied that to Rigathi, because you want to take Rigathi to court for saying what? Saying that you sold your brother's party. What's wrong with selling a brother's party? Yeah? And what kind of evidence can he adduce? Nothing. And lastly, and Oburu needs to know this, and have an ODM party. What Rigathi Gachagua is saying is actually selling. You know, it's easy to say, Junet, Gladys sold the party. Yeah? And it's even easy to say that they sold the party for this much. For Rigathi Gachagua, he can easily implicate Junet and say, you know, I was the William Ruto's running mate. He was. And he can only also say that I was there, the way he was saying today, that I was there, and Junet was given 5 million. What is 5 million to Junet, for example? Yeah? So if he had talked of, let's say Junet was given 1 billion, because remember, at some point, it was being alleged that Rigathi had actually put a price on the Kikuyus, that each Kikuyu vote was going to cost, I think, was it 2 million, which was going to translate to around some 2 or something billion. If you say that Junet was paid 5 million, some of us just laugh. You know why? The cost of hiring a chopper in a day alone. If you organize those ODM events, because at some point I was part of it, it cannot even organize a single ODM event. You see, like even that convention, the youth convention you saw today, 5 million cannot organize it. So unless someone is interested, the best is just to ignore, because they are selling. It's selling. There's no way you can convince somebody that Rigathi was not with Ruto when Ruto was giving Junet 5 million. But any sensible person would then ask, what is 5 million? Yeah, to Junet. Because if Raila had become the president, Junet probably would have been the most powerful individual. Probably me, myself, I would not be doing what I'm doing here. I'll be walking along the corridors of State House, because Junet is a good friend of mine. And I know that 5 million is no money to some of those people. It is alleged that Uhuru gave money to Junet. If Uhuru gave money running into billions, why would Junet now then sell the agents in the name of 5 million? You know, it doesn't make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, the best thing is to insist to Oburu. Those who are close to him, I'm not. If he decides to start facing Rigathi Gachagua is not going to be merciful to him. Rigathi Gachagua will not even look at his age. Rigathi Gachagua is going to destroy him completely. So the best thing, let Rigathi Gachagua be. Rigathi Gachagua is the only person who can deal with William Ruto. If Ruto can run from Rigathi, who is Oburu? I don't know what to think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.